It's a time for us to look at Africa with a totally different eye. And listen, Africa is ripe. Africa is ready for business.
People are coming back after 10 years and the world is changing through digital currency and everything, and legally everything will be the same. So when they come back, they won't find opportunity. They won't be fit in the community of Africa 10 years from now. So if you want to catch up, you have to catch up yesterday, not even today. Africa is where all of us, we belong. And Africa is for African, and our youth really need motivation instead of going all the way to Europe and stuff like that and seeking asylum.
They're pushing her, they're not letting her go, they're not letting her go. Is it right?
I was begging. The official literally looked me in my eye and said in his language, only Ukrainians, that's all. That if you are black, you should walk. And that was an additional 8 hours from where we were. By car, it was like 30 minutes.
We don't need to do that. So what I'm trying to say is the youth. My message is I'm inspiring the youth of Africa, not only Somalia, not Eritrea, not Ethiopia. I'm inspiring all the youth who has similar background of mine, who doesn't have an education, who kind of feel like, okay, you're not educated, you cannot get a job, corporate job. No, you don't have to get a corporate job. You have to do something. If you get a solution for any problem someone has, you get for yourself a business. So what I'm trying to say is, in simple language, the youth of Africa need motivation.
You know, the continent that we live in is a continent that has a lot of challenges, right? If you think about, we have problems with urbanization. There are 800 million people who are moving to cities in Africa in the next 40 years. Healthcare is a challenge, infrastructure, energy, telecommunications, the business that you're in, education. We have a lot of challenges on this continent. So if we do easy things, we'll never solve those problems. Those problems are difficult, right? And development requires sacrifice, it requires commitment, and requires passion. And if you look at throughout history, any continent that has developed, it has been because of the efforts of people who are willing to make those sacrifices and to do the hard things and to transform society. When you go to China, you see that same level of people working. They work 24 hours in China. So we cannot sit here in Africa and just say, oh, we'll just relax and we're going to develop. No, we're not going to go anywhere with that mindset, right? We need to really realize that the job of transforming society, of building companies, of changing society, it's difficult. And this whole idea of doing hard things, for me, it's a culture, it's a way of thinking, which really says that if you want to progress, the most important progress is often not the easy path.
My name is Bashar Mohammed. You guys know me probably. I grew up poor and now I'm running a successful business in South Sudan. I'm a service provider. The company is called Season Trading. We do only business with UN agencies. We are kind of humanitarian support organization. USAID is one of the biggest donors in the country. And this is our stock, this is emergency stock. I was born in Somalia and raised in Somalia, part of Kenya border, where I grew up in my age of teenager age, and I left when I was pretty young. I left my family knowing that I'm the only guy who they have, I'm the only one who can change their life. I didn't see anyone else who's coming overnight and changing their life. So I had to leave home and my comfort zone to seek a better life. I went to Kenya. That was the closest border. And I have to find civilization on my own and, technologies and stuff. I taught myself everything from the scratch. I didn't have a formal education. When I went there, I had to choose between two: formal education, which was a basic, high school, primary, whatever you call it, degree, or I had to find a shortcut way. Since I didn't have support and of course the financial capacity, I didn't have the financial freedom, and back home I had to support the family. And the internet was out there. I had to find a way of shortcut of learning stuff from the internet and starting from fresh. So technically I didn't have any formal education. Everything I know I learned from the internet. All the language I speak today, the computer knowledge I have today, everything from the scratch on the internet. I was working in a cyber cafe for 5 years. That's where I started learning everything, building my network and meeting good people where I was working in the internet cafe. And then eventually I had to go to South Sudan, which was virgin as well, the newest country in the world, which everything literally was fresh back in the days of 2012. And thank God today I've been in up to 40 countries and I've seen Western world, Asia and everything, you name it. What I'm encouraging the youth is to get involved in entrepreneurship, the business, job creation. You don't have to stuck on education. You don't have university school. You don't have certificate from college. No, that doesn't have to be a way bridge of stopping your life. Oh, I can't do that. For example, some people don't get involved in business. If you have an idea, it's two options. You either have the money or you have the mind. If you don't have the money, you have the mind. You're creative. God created you for a reason. Everybody else, you create an idea. You come to the investors who have the money but don't have the mind. So your mind and their money can build a fortune for both of you. So what I'm trying to say is, in simple language, the youth of Africa need motivation.
Those people who are educated and who are healthy and who are alive, you have been given unique opportunities that most people do not have. And so you're privileged. And the only way you can justify that privilege is by using those unique opportunities to solve the difficult problems that society requires you to solve. It's not about yourself and enriching yourself and getting fame and getting power. If you do that, then you don't deserve the privilege you have. You need to really use this unique opportunity to create change for others. And that's how we're going to move forward. But it needs to be a culture, it's a mindset change. We can't say we're going to get there by just relaxing.
The challenge we have when it comes to successful, people think, you're successful, but they want to get you successful or whatever route you went through in overnight. It doesn't take overnight. It took me 10 years of hustling and struggling to reach where I am today. So when they put time and energy and action, everybody will reach there. And the other challenge we have here, like people, when they get opportunity, they don't capitalize because of most of people, they don't differentize and don't know how to make decision between their pride and their problem. Sometimes you're gonna have to choose between your pride and your problem. When you put your pride aside, any job you get, it doesn't matter what background is or how it look like and how people will talk about the job. Just capitalize, get it. The opportunity won't come back every day to you.
Let me speak to the investors and let them know that, listen here, there's no better place to invest other than Africa today. We have the raw material. And therefore, first of all, when you look at raw material, you do not want to carry raw material from Africa to other parts of the world to process and return it back to Africa. It's easy to invest in Africa because there are incentives. There are incentives that government has put in place to be able to bring you. There's a private-public partnership. And the investment therein has been opened up, and Africa is open for business. We have a young population. Our labor cost is fairly cheap, and you can be able to afford. We are able to innovate. We have fairly educated group. We have young men and women that are looking strong. We have women and the youths that are energized and ready to go. So we are set. You only need to plug in, and all you need to do is which part of Africa you want to go. So it's a time to come and look at Africa. And I want to invite anybody who has not been in Africa and who has looked at Africa differently to get to know. The governments have worked on a legislation. Yesterday, we're told about free African continental free trade area that allows us to be able to break the barriers. And that's an opportunity for us to invest in Africa. And it's a time for us to look at Africa with a totally different eye.